Pipeline, Power, Hour, Mai Green, SVP Brand Engagement at Salesforce. Mai, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Excited to have you on today and excited to talk about brand engagement. Mai, how do you think about brand engagement?
Brand engagement is obviously near and dear to my heart. I've been doing it for a really long time at Salesforce and have brought this team together that encompasses three primary functions, which is customer marketing and engagement, sponsorship marketing, and Salesforce Plus, which is our streaming platform. Um, it's exciting because it's a way that we connect and develop relationships with our customers and partners, and it's a way how we engage with them in unique ways.
Yeah, so let's start off with the first one there. Customer marketing. Obviously, you're one of the pioneers of this new phase of customer marketing. How do you think about it?
Well, customer marketing is unique because, I originally came from entertainment and sports. And so taking a page out of the B2C space and bring it to the B2B and how we leverage influential voices. We think about like the Be Like Mike campaign from Nike. It's like athletes and celebrities. You want to be like them. You inspire to be like them. There's this FOMO effect. And so what we created at Salesforce was customer marketing and how do we leverage the voices of our successful customers that are using Salesforce and connecting with the customers in a whole new way. So brands like Coca-Cola and Bank of America and Disney, and they're connecting with their customers using the Salesforce platform. Um, and being able to tell that story, we provide that opportunity to give them a stage throughout our events and programming. So it reaches new audiences, it inspires these audiences, and at the end of the day, influences buying behavior.
Yeah, I mean, Salesforce really, like, again, pioneered this customer marketing uh, sort of revolution is probably a strong word, but really pushing it out. And I think that like so many companies have seen that and sort of seen the power of it. How do you think about it from like an ROI standpoint, or like how does it impact pipeline?
Well, we are like a sales organization. We model the team like a sales organization. We have a BDR team, we have an AE team. We're calling all the recent deals closed to understand, hey, AE, you sold this deal. How are they implementing it? When are they live? Are they happy? Are they a lead to actually tell a great story? And so then once they are a lead, we pass it to our customer marketer AE, right? And they call them and talk to them about the opportunity to do co-marketing, celebrate their story on stage, do a demo, highlight their success. And ultimately, it, aligns to various different uh, programs that we have out there that align to our industries. And we think about these stories that align to our total addressable market within a single industry or program to drive pipeline. So.
Yeah, so obviously tons of rigor in that. I mean, how many organizations of your peers think about brand engagement and customer marketing like that, or do you feel like it's pretty unique the way you do it at Salesforce?
I think that we're starting to see it more. When I first started the team 10 years ago, there wasn't a customer marketing profile out there. So I started hiring from the sales organization. We hired BDRs and AEs in the SMB space, for instance. They knew how to do the discovery and understand how to sell to a customer an idea of marketing together. And so I think people are starting to see that, companies are starting to see that, and they're catching on, and we're starting to see customer marketers all over the place, which is amazing.
And then for sponsorship, how do you think about like ROI and pipeline building with sponsorship activities?
So sponsorship is built to fuel our partner ecosystem and drive lead gen opportunities through our strategic event portfolio. So we deeply are invested in our Salesforce ecosystem to drive growth and customer success that benefits all of us. So we have inventory across all of our events. We sell, whether it's booth or an experience to our partners in the ecosystem that's able to capture lead gen opportunities that is built on the Salesforce platform. So it's a really unique way, but it's kind of keeping it within the family, which works out really well. And it also helps us offset our budgets, which is really important during this current climate.
Yeah, it's so cool to see how you all not only like co-market, but also, I love that, like the co-creation strategy where you're creating content with your customers and with prospects and with all sorts of different people to drive brand engagement. Seems like that's like should be table
Mhm.
stakes for every marketing team now, is like that
Yeah.
co-creation and co-marketing strategy. Do you kind of feel like it should be table stakes?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think there's so much opportunity to do more partnerships out there. When I saw, Nike launch a partnership with Tiffany, I'm like, okay, this is the next level to B2B marketing and how we can partner with various different brands to go to market. Because there's audiences that they have access to that we may not have access to. And this is the opportunity to bridge that gap and bring it together.
And then for Salesforce Plus, obviously a revolutionary thing. Again, using revolutionary, but truly, I mean, it's a cutting edge initiative from Salesforce. Can you explain sort of how that fits into to pipeline?
It is our opportunity to drive our first party data strategy, right? It is the subscription based streaming service where we're super focused, hyper focused on delivering relevant content to the audiences that matter, right? We think about our personas, sales buyer, marketing buyer, service buyer. We support our first party data strategy by delivering really great content, hooking them and interest them from audiences on platforms like YouTube or other social channels to hook them and drive them to Salesforce Plus and drive our subscriber base.
Yeah, I always think about this as sort of multi-channel, multi-format content, right? It's like people
Yeah,
might consume on a bunch of different channels. It might be Spotify, it might be YouTube, it might be wherever, or it might be directly on your website. But sort of, painting the sky in those Salesforce colors so that everywhere they look, they're seeing
totally.
content and customer stories and sponsorships and all that stuff from Salesforce.
Yeah.
Uh, any any cool or creative ways that you sort of think about those sponsorships and think about how you can sort of co-create, or any lessons for our listeners?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting because our core business for sponsorships is within our partner ecosystem, as I mentioned earlier. But as we start to see the current measured buying environment, budgets being cut, how we spend dollars, all the things, our budgets are shrinking. Our TAM is shrinking in regards to like our opportunity to bring in that sponsorship revenue. So with the increased goal to bring in more revenue, we are looking at new category of buyers. So this means how are we opening up opportunities to attract B2C companies? How are we looking at brands that are interested in our audiences at Dreamforce? One of the things that I think about is how do we just elevate the experience for our executive experience, right? Keeping it authentic and not making it salesy. But, back in the day when I used to do NBA All Stars, there used to be these suites with hospitality suites. All these brands would come in and deliver these great experiences for these athletes and celebrities. That's an emotion that, we haven't unlocked at our experiences. And that's an easy way to bring in additional revenue in a different category outside of our partner ecosystem while still adding value to our attendees.
Yeah, it seems like with this mantra of do more with less that we're kind of all under right
Yeah.
now, that being creative and thinking more like the B2C world and finding those integrations seems like it can be a winning strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like when we say do more with less, it's like do less with less is what we typically say at Salesforce.
Yeah.
It's like really do more with less. But I think it's ruthless prioritization. It's focusing on the things that matter that are going to move the needle. I'm sure you guys know of the B2 mom that really anchors us on how we prioritize our priorities. If it's not on the B2 mom, it shouldn't be happening. Last year we did thousands of customer story brands, or featured thousands of them. And we did like a handful of assets for each of those brands. So this year, what we're doing is actually doing less. So maybe it's just a few hundred of customer brands that we're going to feature, but we're going to go deeper with them. And we're going to merchandise those stories. That's kind of the new lingo these days, borrowing for the B2C space. We're going to merchandise those stories to all the various different channels and various different formats, attracting the various different audiences. So wherever you come from or whatever channel you're on, you'll see a variety or variation of a customer story that's specific to that channel.
Mai, it's been absolutely awesome having you on the show today. Thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.